Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Lisa. Today I'm just going to be doing a Sunday reset and getting things ready for the week ahead. The first thing I want to do though is open these curtains and get these windows cracked. It's going to be warm today, and because I know it's supposed to be getting cold again, I want to take advantage while I can of this warm, fresh air. So I'm just going to be cleaning the living room and the dining room and just a little bit of the kitchen today. And while Mittens finishes her nap on the couch, I'm gonna head to the kitchen and start some bread before I get to cleaning. I really think that making bread is my favorite Sunday chore. It doesn't take very long, but it's one of those things that makes me feel like I've got my life together, at least for the week ahead. I like to switch up the flavors though, and I make different kinds of bread. And I do that so that Vincent's life stays exciting. I never want him getting used to just a one kind of bread, and he never knows which kind I'm making from week to week. This week I'm making sourdough sandwich bread, and it's one of his favorites, so he'll appreciate it. He'll like it. So now that I have my bread tucked away and it's rising and doing its thing, I'm gonna get this counter cleaned back up real quick. It just only takes me a couple of minutes to wipe all of this down and put everything away. And I'm gonna do this before I start on anything else. It just helps keep things from feeling so chaotic as I move through doing my chores today. The living room really isn't that bad today, thankfully. I've seen it way worse than this before. So it shouldn't really take me all that long to get it put back together. Just a matter of dusting some stuff off and putting some things away. So my living room was pretty much just set up for the comfort of my whole family. For example, this cabinet here, I swapped out my console table. I had a console table there, and I swapped it out for this little cabinet because when the baby was first born, Jada and the baby practically lived here in the living room. And this cabinet was perfect for the extra diapers and the blankets and the outfits. It really worked out great because it has the little doors on it and the little drawers. So she was able to tuck all that little extra baby stuff away. And in the middle of the night, if she needed something, she didn't have to run upstairs to her room and get it. It was just all right here. And it was organized and put away. Um, I'm just gonna dust it off. I'm just gonna give it a really quick dust with my Dollar Tree furniture polish. Even in the winter, this house gets so super dusty. I think it's honestly, it's all the open farmland around us. Not really sure, but that's what I think it is. But I like to wait until the baby's out of the house to do a really good dusting like this because there's just so much of it. And I don't want her breathing it in and developing allergies and all that stuff. So even when it's cold out, I like to crack the windows and the back door and let fresh air in while I dust. But if the baby's here, I can't do that. So they usually Jada, Ashton, and the baby usually go out on Sundays, and they'll go have breakfast and run to the mall and do whatever they do. So that's when I like to take advantage and give my furniture a really good polish. And believe me, by the time Sunday rolls around, it really needs done. So the baby does still spend a lot of time here in the living room. So a lot of the little things that are laying around are just her things, her little socks, her little outfits, that just need to be picked up and put away. And you may notice that I do have TV trays for side tables to my couch. And I'm going to tell you why. Honestly, it's because my son Daniel once told me the greatest night he ever remembered when he was little was when I allowed him and his brother and sister to eat pizza in the living room while they watched a movie that we rented. Uh, and my grandkids come over every weekend. So I really want it to be a special time when they come over. And that memory that he told me about just kind of stuck with me. And so I want my grandkids to have that special kind of feeling when they stay over. So they get their little TV trays and they have their breakfast and they get to watch cartoons in the living room. Normally, we all eat at the table. So eating in the living room is something special at grandma's house. It's just one of those little things I like to do for them. It's nothing big, but it's just one of those things that it's just a memory and it's going to last a long time. They'll always remember that. And of course, our dogs are part of our family too. That's why I've got like 4 dog beds in here at any given moment. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. But I just want them to be comfortable while we're all together. Our dogs really are a big part of our family. We have 5 of them in the house right now. 4 of them are my daughter Jada's, and 1 is mine. We had 2, but our little bear, he passed away this past September, so now we just have Desiree, and she's 13. And then we also have 3 cats here right now. Only one of them is mine. Mine is Miss Piper, and she's actually 17 this month, so that's pretty exciting. She's just a little old lady. But it's family. Well, since this isn't really a deep clean or anything, I'm just really just touching everything up today. I've got a lot to do this week, and I really don't want to get myself tied down pulling out furniture and washing walls just yet. This is just my basic weekly reset. I do add a couple of, little extra things besides just the dusting and the sweeping and the mopping, and just kind of knock them out once a week. I like to do just enough to make the house feel fresh without turning it into an all day project. A spring deep clean is on the schedule, but it's just not going to happen today. I got too much to do this week, so I'm just going to keep it short and simple. Well, not really short, but simple. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you already know there's a whole controversy in this house about the dogs being on the couch. Vincent always says he doesn't lay in their beds, so they shouldn't be on his couch. But I don't mind if they do get on the couch once in a while. And that's where the issue comes in. When he comes home, they stay off, they don't get on the couch at all. But, when he's not looking, it's a totally different story. But they do go outside a lot, so I make sure to sweep the couch constantly, pretty regular. And I spray it down with disinfectant spray simply because I don't know what they've gotten into when they're out and they're roaming and getting into the trees in the woods. So, if you're new to the channel, let me just tell you, there is a whole controversy about the dogs getting on the couch. It's kind of a family joke sometimes. Sometimes it's not funny. Sometimes, most of the time, though, I think it's pretty funny. Vincent does not, though. He doesn't think it's funny at all. That's okay. We'll forgive him. So when I do my living room floor, when I sweep it and mop it, I kind of like to split it in half. It's a lot of floor to sweep and mop. And I just find it easier to kind of section it off like that. It's really not that bad this week as far as like muddy paw prints go. But there are times when it can get pretty muddy. But there's always a ton of dog hair and dust on the floor. Um, what I'd really like to do is find a really good wood floor polish. I've tried a couple of different ones, but they really made the floor way too slippery for me. Um, I just want something that gives it a really nice shine without turning it into an ice rink. So, like, if you have any suggestions or anything, maybe leave me some comments below if you know anything good. Um, right now, I just use my Lysol concentrate and a little bit of cold water. It really does do a great job cleaning, but it doesn't leave that nice shine behind. Um, but mopping this floor, that's what takes a while, but it really brings the whole room together. So here's a look at the finished room. It's ready for the busy week ahead. However, this dining room is a whole nother story. So my dining room, it just seems to be a major drop-off point in the house. It's like the main hub or command central or something. Everyone and everything passes through here at some point through the day, every day. If something needs to go outside, it just kind of sits in here until we take it out. If someone walks through the door with something in their hand, it could be bags or mail or snacks or tools or whatever, you name it, it lands on the table. Even though we do clear it off every day, because we do sit down and eat at the table, so it does get cleared off before we eat. Uh, Everything still, it doesn't matter. Everything still ends up here. Um, but thankfully, it never really takes that long to get it back like under control. It's usually just a matter of putting things in their designated homes. So, like when someone is looking for something, um, the big thing is, did you check the table? Did you look on the table? I thought I saw it on the table. Maybe look on the table because 9 times out of 10, that's probably where your missing thing is. Is anybody else like that? Like, does your dining room table just like catch everything? Maybe it's just us. Um, and also too, this table gets wiped off a lot throughout the day. Um, it actually gets wiped off a couple of times a day, probably, but at least once a week. I like to use something just a little bit stronger, like my Lysol concentrate. I feel like it gives the table that extra clean and like it can, get rid of any germs that might have collected. Um, Actually, this table Jada gave to me, she bought it for her house that she had, but once she got it, it didn't really fit into her house, so she was going to sell it. And I was like, it would really fit my dining room. It was kind of the table that I was looking for. And she just gave it to me, so that was really nice. I appreciate it. It gives it that farmhouse rustic handmade look, and I feel like it fits perfect. So one of the other things I really like to do at least once a week is these glass patio doors. Um, they get a lot of daily use. Between the grandkids' fingerprints and their nose prints and the dog's nose prints and paw prints, they really just they don't stay clean. This is something else that gets wiped down regularly, a couple few times a week, depending on how muddy it is. But at least once a week, I like to spend a little bit of extra time on it and give it a really good clean. When I wipe it off through the week, I usually use my vinegar and water spray to, to just give them a really quick wipe off, like any like mud. Um, but today I'm using just something a little bit stronger to give it that really extra good clean. I'm using Spray Away Foaming Glass Cleaner, and I really like this stuff. I really do. It does a really good job getting all the prints off the glass, and it has a really nice scent as well. So I really like using it at least once a week. So when I clean a room, I do all of the flat surfaces first. I clear them off, I put everything where it belongs, and I give them a good wipe down before I start the floors. This cabinet right here can sometimes become the overflow spot for the table when it gets too much crap on it. Right now, though, it's just full of this little stuff that Jada's gonna use for Easter pictures for the baby. We're gonna take some coming up real soon. So really, I'm just gonna move everything and give it a good wipe down, and then I'll just kind of put everything back because it's gonna be used really soon, and it doesn't really have a home, just because we're just waiting to use it. I just feel like this reset is just moving right along, and it feels very, very good to have the windows open, a warm breeze coming in. The house is feeling fresher, it's smelling fresher. I think Sunday resets are some of my favorite cleaning to do. They're kind of simple, easy cleanups, and it just gives me a chance to do a little bit extra without it turning into, a major deep clean. It can still feel really good though, even though it's not a deep clean. It still gives you that same feeling. And also on Sundays too, this is another flat surface I do is my little coffee nook. I like to take it apart and give it a really good cleaning. Most days it just gets wiped down, little coffee spills or whatever. Um, but it does collect a lot of coffee grounds and sugar and spoons, and everyone makes their drinks up here. It just really collects a little bit of everything. It does get wiped down, like as we use it, but on Sundays I really like to take my time and give it a good total reset. Um, I like to wash out all the containers and refill them with fresh coffee and sugar. I also like to clean the coffee maker itself, and then uh, I run white vinegar through it so it can clean the insides. The vinegar tends to, break up any kind of buildup that's in there, and especially since you can't wash it. And it just makes the coffee taste fresher too. It just really feels good to start the week with this whole little area reset and fresh coffee. Now, these floors, this is the last thing on my list for this room. And of course, it's going to be the longest part. It's a pretty good size floor, too. But once the floors are clean, it feels like a whole new space in here. And at least, for now, until the table gets piled up again and the dogs press their noses on the glass and someone wants a fresh cup of coffee. But at least the floors will be clean. Like I said, this is at the hub of my home, literally, the crossroads. Like everybody ends up in here. And actually, when Vincent and I redesigned this room, we knew it was going to end up like this, just kind of the catch all area. But that's okay, we wouldn't really want it any other way. Um, the the coffee grounds and the fingerprints and all the things, it's home, it's family and it's home. So now my kitchen. I don't really have a lot to do in here. I did most of the heavy cleaning before I went to bed last night. So I just need to give the counters a good wipe down, and there's a few dishes in the sink that need washed, but nothing major. This kitchen does see a lot of action because Jada and I both do a lot of cooking. Um, we usually use vinegar spray to clean as we go when we're cooking, but again, once in a while, I like to give everything a good wipe down with the Lysol. It just kind of helps make sure there's no germs building up or anything. And I actually do have two main goals in here that I want to do. And one of them is cleaning out my garbage can, and the other one is cleaning out my sink. They both get a lot of use, and they could really use a good scrub today. And so I think I'm going to take the time to do that. So I'm going to start my garbage can first. I'm going to empty the sink out, and I'm going to empty out the full garbage bag that's in there. And I'm going to rinse it out really well, and I'm going to spray Lysol in there, and I'm also going to add a little bit of Dawn dish soap and give it a really good cleaning on the inside and out. And I'm also going to clean the little area where it sits. I'm going to clean my stove and the wall. I try to do that regular, like if there's a spill or something, I'll clean it. But at least, again, once a week, I try to do this on Sundays. Maybe not the whole garbage can thing, but the wall and the stove, I like to go over it with some, just some good cleaner and get it all cleaned up so the yuck doesn't build up, and then it gets really hard to clean. Um, and especially too, because this is going to be a super busy week, I just really don't want to fall behind. So I want to make sure that I get it all, cleaned up real nice, and then I don't have to worry about it. And once I get the fresh bag in there, then I'm not going to worry about it anymore. It'll be all right. I'll just kind of keep up on it through the week if I need to. If I don't, then it'll be all right until next week when I get over here and get it scrubbed down again. So I have well water, and it can stain my sink because my sink is white. Normally I just use a little bit of Comet with bleach to clean it. Sometimes I have to use iron out if the rust stains are a little harder. Like if my softener machine isn't working right, or I've run out of salt and I forgot, and my water's a little bit extra rusty. You normally can't see the rust. I can if the light, especially if the light hits it just right, I can see it. And so I'll use a little iron out. But normally we just clean it a couple of times a week with some Comet. But today I'm making sure and going through and just really scrubbing it, instead of just giving it a basic, wipe down. So I'm gonna clean my little dish drainer and making sure my whole sink area is gonna be set up for this week and ready to go. Like I said, Jada and I cook a lot. We both cook a lot. She cooks for her family, and I cook for Vince and I. And so there's always tons and tons of dishes to do. So this sink gets a lot of action, both washing dishes and cleaning. So anyway, I am just about done with the house. I got the living room done, the dining room done, the garbage can, and the sink. All of the floors are going to be finished. I'm going to sweep and mop this floor when I get done with the sink. And it was a long day. It took quite a while to get all of this done, especially my dad stopped by, and then I, visited with Jada and Ashton and the baby for a while. But it was a productive day. So it was a really good day. And I'm really happy with the way things turned out. I just want to say I really appreciate you watching my video today. I'm always very appreciative of your time. I would ask that if you enjoyed the content, if you could give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see some more of my content, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll know whenever I post a new video. I just do different kinds of videos, just about my house and my family and my hearth and home. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.